We've learned a lot about all the different types of effects you can do in Premiere Pro in this chapter, but the honest truth is that for most heavy-duty effects work, you're going to use Adobe After Effects quite a bit in your workflow. Now, this isn't an Adobe After Effects course, so we won't be going too deeply into this, but I did want to show you how to set up the very powerful dynamic link to link your Adobe Premiere Pro project and clips to an Adobe After Effects composition. If you take a look at my sequence here, I have a few clips that I'd like to bring into After Effects. And right here, it's these 3 archival shots. I'm just going to select them by lassoing, and then I'm going to right-click and choose Replace with After Effects Composition. So I'll name this composition. I'll just call it Creative Letterpress as well. And I'll store it on my media drive, and I actually have a folder for this type of thing, Course Created Assets. So anything that you create in this course and you want to store it, I'll put in there, and I'll say save. And here we go, our 3 archival shots, and we can add anything that we want to them. So I'm just going to add a very obvious preset here. Let's see what After Effects has in terms of sepia tone. And I'll just drag that on, these 3 clips. Notice there's a ton of parameters that I can change. I'm not going to worry about that for now because what I want to show you is how Dynamic Link works. So I haven't saved, I haven't rendered anything, but I'm just going to go back to my Premiere Pro project, and you can see that everything's been updated. So this is a live shared link. That is why Dynamic Link is so cool. And this is really going to work to your advantage because After Effects is so powerful and it's such a smooth and elegant transition between the 2 applications. Now I want to show you a couple more things you can do with Dynamic Link. Just so you know, this relationship isn't completely two-way right now. Like if I make changes to this sequence in Premiere Pro, it won't necessarily update in After Effects. But there is actually a way to make this happen. So let me set this up for you. I'm going to go back to After Effects. I'm going to just come back to my project pane here, and this time I'm going to import a Premiere Pro element. So I'm just going to right-click, choose Import and File, and I'm going to go into Letterpress Projects, and this is my Creative Letterpress Master Project. Notice here it says Format Dynamic Link. I'll say Open, and I'm just going to burrow into the actual element that I want to bring in. For our purposes, I'm going to just go into Assets, Final Material, Sequence, and then I'm going to bring in my final sequence here, the Letterpress Promo Final. And I'll say OK. And here it is. So what I've done here essentially is turn my sequence in Premiere Pro into footage in After Effects. So I'm just going to create a composition out of this. Right-click, New Comp from Selection, and here it is. I'm just going to scroll through this. So I have my shot here. I'm going to go back to Premiere Pro because I'm going to change something about this shot. And again, it's going to be dynamically linked, so I'm not going to save, I'm not going to render, I'm just going to change something about this shot, and then you'll see what happens. All right, so I'm going to go back to Premiere Pro. I know that that is in my Assets, Final Materials, and then here's my Letterpress Promo Final inside of Sequence. I am right here on that shot, and I'll just select it and go over to Effects. And I'm going to change the color of that green ink. So I'm just going to type in color, change color, and I'll go ahead and drag and drop that on and open up effect controls, make sure that's selected. And let's go ahead and sample our green color here and make it a little bit yellower, like so. So it doesn't look great, but we've changed it. Now again, I'm not going to save, I'm not going to render. I'm just going to go back to After Effects. And here we go, we have our yellow ink. So in that way, I've set up a dynamic link by bringing in a Premiere Pro sequence, treating it as footage, making a composition out of it, and then any changes that I make back in Premiere are reflected here in After Effects. The change is live. So there's so much you can do with this dynamically linked environment. It's a very powerful way to work and allows you to work with shared footage between the applications without needing to export and import or render or recreate the wheel anytime you make a change in either of the applications.